Good morning. My name is Susan, and I will be your host today for Soul School Network. This is Sunday, October the 27th, and we are delighted to have a guest speaker to speak with us about Eckankar. So we'll open our minds and hearts to, for me, something that is new. And welcome to those who are listening to the recording, perhaps through YouTube. We look forward to seeing you in person sometime. And for now, we'll just go ahead. We like to start our meetings with a grounding meditation because sometimes we've had busy morning, or depending on what part of the world you're in, perhaps a very busy day. So Koryanka can't be with us this morning. And so I'm going to play her recorded grounding meditation, which is about 5 minutes. And then we are going to hear from John. So I will share my screen now, and I just invite you to take a few minutes and let's get grounded together. So I'll share my screen. Technology working here. Here we go.
Lie down or sit in a comfortable position. To start, you might close your eyes if that feels good. Take 3 deep, relaxing breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. One more time. In through the nose, out through the mouth. We'll start scanning our bodies for any tension there might be. Starting at the head. We'll do this together. We'll just observe without making any meaning out of it. Scan the crown of your head, the back of your head, your face and neck, your shoulders, one arm and then the other, all the way down to your hands. Now your back, from the neck all the way down to the final bone of the spine. You can focus your attention now on your chest and your abdomen. Are there any sensations so far? Any muscle tension? Just observe it for now. Continue with your right leg and foot and your left leg and foot. Wherever you found tension, let it go gently by visualizing that it is a white cloud that slides down your body all the way to your feet, leaving your body through the soles of the feet. Perhaps there will be many clouds of tension leaving your body. That's great. You're letting them go. You can feel good about it. Once tension is out of your body, it will be gone and transformed into life-giving energy. Let's take a deep, relaxing breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Let it feel good. You can stretch your body and make sure you are comfortable wherever you are. You are a beloved child of God and the earth, deeply connected to her. Notice how your feet are planted on the ground, either physically or energetically at all times. Feeling the earth with the soles of your feet. Feel how your energy grows and extends itself from the soles of your feet towards Mother Earth. You are growing energetic roots that go into the moist, rich soil under your feet, uniting with the Mother, receiving nourishment and love from her. The more your roots extend and go deeper and deeper into the earth, the more you feel deeply grounded and held in love by Mother Earth. Stay present in this moment. You can feel it. Remain grounded and present in this moment. Grounded and present. Grounded and present. You can gently go back to your breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And one more time. Now you can slowly open your eyes when it feels good to you and move your body slowly as you come back. Enjoy a beautiful day.
Lovely. Thank you to Koryanka. And good morning again. And I'm excited to turn over the conversation to John. And thank you, Michelle, for making this introduction to Soul School Network. And I'll just introduce John Allegro. His academic background is in French literature. He traveled extensively across North America, Europe, and North Africa throughout his life. He was introduced to Eckankar by his uncle, who was a healer and a sensitive, and was able to communicate with spiritual beings. John began taking introductory courses for Eckankar, and he started having his own spiritual experiences, which led him to develop an even deeper interest in Eckankar. He recently completed Soul Travel 1, a course that consists of 12 chapters, covering a chapter every month. He is now certified as an Eckankar teacher, known as Arahata. Was asked to become a teacher for the Soul Travel 2 course. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, John, and I turn it over to you.
Yeah, well, you're welcome, and thank you for having me. Eckankar is huge, and when I started looking into it for my presentation, I just realized how big it was. So if you think of it, it was there from the beginning of time. So it precedes all religions that we know on the planet today. But as an introduction, I'll just go through the uh, the idea of what it represents. Now, I'm here not as a representative of Eckankar. I'm here as an Eckie, but I also going to put my views and my experiences during my my speech. So Eckankar means a co-worker with God, and all who follow this spiritual path aim to become. So we aim to become a co-worker with God. And the purpose of this is to take soul back to its original state, back home. So it gives knowledge of both the light and sound of God, which again took place during creation, and provides a formal study program that qualify a student for initiations. So there's a process. We're involved in the process, and the process allow takes an individual through several initiations. And initiations lead to a spiritual freedom of the soul. That's the whole idea behind it. You want to be understanding who you are and where you come from. So the Ek teaching define the nature of soul. You are soul, a particle of God sent into the worlds, including Earth, to gain spiritual experience. Now, you have to understand that it talks about worlds, plural. It talks about, this time, space, the solar system, and is in line with what physics is talking about today, the new physics, when it tries to break down matter into its component parts. It gets to a point when it's just energy. And that's what I think the Ek is talking about. That at the time of creation, this is where the energy comes from and where we are part of. So the goal of Ek is spiritual freedom in this lifetime, both here and other worlds, after which you become a co-worker with God. This is opposed to, let's say, Catholicism, which says you gain your spiritual freedom at the moment of death. We say, no, you can reach that spiritual freedom during this lifetime by going through the process of initiation. Karma and reincarnation are primary beliefs of Eckankar. So again, eventually, hopefully, you'll have questions, but it tells you something about the fact that we are soul first. We come down and embody our body. We're here to learn through our experiences, and if we experience life through our senses. But we also believe that the soul is immortal. So and because of that, it comes back over time into multiple lives. This is how the individual grows, and this is how the soul grows. So when we talk about Eckankar, we talk about the Ek, which is the inner spiritual force. It is the creator of all things, behind every particle, every atom. So it encompasses the whole universe. It is the essence of our God, which we call Sugmad. The Mahanta is the Ek, and the Mahanta is the Ek, and Ek is love. Today, our Mahanta is Sri Harold Klemp. So the Ek, which is this creative force, it is also an inner spiritual force, and the wave of which rides back home to God. So the force, the particles create a wave. You ride this wave during your spiritual exercises, and this is a way of getting back to touch with yourself and God. And the way to catch this wave is through spiritual exercises of Ek. And the Ek needs us in order to fully express its consciousness, leading to self-realization. So we're learning about how to grow spiritually, but we're also part of what I think, a feedback mechanism whereby your soul learns as well. So soul can grow as well, and then be part of the next life force. So as the Ek, again, we're co-workers with God. The destiny of every soul is to become one with the Ek and love as God loves. The Ek masters, which is Sri Harold Klimp and the previous masters, are the co-workers with God, while we in the lower worlds are co-workers with the Mahanta, which means, as I am today, anyone that brings the message of Ek to others. The Mahanta, as we know today, which I saw when I went to Minneapolis this past weekend, is the living Ek master and spiritual leader of Eckankar. He can release soul from the wheel of 84, which is part of a 12-year cycle that we go through and we follow as part of the Ek spiritual path. And he is the sole agent of God. And he represents the good that dwells in the heart of every mortal creature. So it started at the beginning of time, creation, the sound of you that we use in order to reconnect with spirit. This sound at the point of creation created the lower worlds of energy, matter, space, and time. Again, I find that there's parallel here with physics. And you, the Ek-spirit, also sustains the lower worlds. So the sound itself sustains our universe and also the Ek-spirit. The lower worlds, as we know, and we're going to get you to put up the slide, is established for the purpose of providing a training ground for soul. The original creation is within each soul, and all is within the soul of God. At one time, what they call the Golden Age, each saw this as they knew this all along. But for us, that we don't remember at the time when we were soul and we were part of God and everything was connected, we're at the point where we're trying to remember. And so if you can put up the slide now. So at the point of creation, point of creation, and you have the U sound. You also have the creation of the lower worlds. And this is, you can see it, there's a lower part, and then there's the blue line, and then there's a higher part. And the lower worlds are on the bottom there. And it represents, each plane in these lower worlds represents a state of consciousness. And as you go up this process, the higher you go, the greater proportion of spirit is is made into as opposed to matter. So on the lower level, the physical plane, you're mostly physical. As you go up uh, through this lower worlds uh, process, you become more spiritual and less physical. So these are planes of consciousness within me, within you, and represent our personal universe. The way to move up in these spiritual worlds is through a process of detachment. So as you're able to detach your soul from the physical body, you're able to attain these different levels of states of consciousness. At the very bottom, we have the physical level, which soul is trapped by the five passions, which is lust, anger, greed, vanity, and attachment. Plane of time, space, matter, and illusion of reality. The astral plane is a source of all psychic phenomena, ghosts, flying saucers, spirits, ESP, and is a plane reached by astral projection and most occult sciences. Up further, the causal plane where the memories, karmic patterns, and past life records are stored. The mental is where all the mental teachings, aesthetic philosophies, conventional concept of God and cosmic consciousness. And the last, the etheric of the lower world, last barrier between the lower worlds and the pure positive worlds of God. So for our talk today, basically we're talking about the lower worlds. When we try to have this experience of self-realization is when you come to the point where you understand and you experience that you are soul first. So at the beginning of time, when creation took place, light and sound also was part of this whole creation process. And all souls are made of light and sound. And when we do our chants and we focus through our third eye, which is between your eyes and just slightly above, we try to experience this inner light that we have in us, because like everything else, we are made of atoms. And when you break things down at the very bottom, there's energy. So we're trying to, and it's subtle, this energy is very subtle. So we're trying to bring up this energy into our consciousness. And we listen for any sound that can be part of that chant. So the light and sound is a voice of God, God's love in action. It contains all teachings emanating from God, and one may make contact via the spiritual exercises of act to see inner and outer light or hear inner and outer sound. So this is not unusual for an Eki when they do their spiritual exercises, normally twice a day, chanting Hugh and and focusing on their third eye, that you will experience this light and sometimes hear, not very often, but sometimes you may hear a sound as well. So the sound is part of a sound current, and we think it's the Holy Spirit and it's part of an audible life stream. It has a divine essence which sustains all life that can be seen and heard by the faculty of soul. So you have this creative force, it creates a sound. Soul is part of the sound, and also the sound is made up of spiritual atoms moving in space. So again, reference to physics. Listening for the sound current is a key element of the spiritual exercises of act. So we move on to the sound of soul, and for us, it's the sound of you, H-U, and it's pronounced Y-O-O. So when you do your chant, our chant is when we sing you. And it's an ancient sacred name for God, you, and is a carrier of love between God and soul. So when we sing you, we, at least I feel that I'm trying to connect with soul. And when I connect with soul, I connect with everything else. I don't want to get too technical, but some sounds are sacred. And when you focus on these sounds that are sacred, they generate a certain vibration. And that vibration is made up of energy and causes movement of surrounding molecules, whether air molecules or internal molecules. And this causes a chain reaction until the energy runs out. So we sing you because we're trying to get in touch, to ride the wave so that you can be in touch with your soul. So the sound of you for us is behind all sounds, again, because it's part of creation. It is everywhere and in everything. It is a sacred sound, concentrated on the ek like when sung or chanted with love, you opens the lines of communications to the most sacred part of yourself. So when we sing you, and we try to project the sound through our third eye, and when we sing you, the sound acts like a tuning fork, aligning soul with your higher states of consciousness. You prepares you to accept the full love of God in this lifetime. So the more you chant, the more you open up your third eye, the more chances are you're in touch with your soul and everything else that's part of it. So it prepares you to accept the full love of God in this lifetime. Singing you every day, and you vibrate in tune with the sound current. Do we have any questions you may want to ask, or no questions? All
Yes,
right.
I'd like to ask a question for you,
Sure. Good.
or from you. You mentioned you talked about our soul journey and how we're in the version of Ek that this is a training ground really and an
Yes.
opportunity for us to grow our soul and to grow in our spiritual path. I
Yes.
know of other spiritual paths where um, you know they sometimes talk about how we're part of a soul or we're all one. Um,
Mhm.
uh, now, how do you view that? Do you see us as individuals that are individuals who are growing separately?
Yeah, I think so. The way we see it, we're just a particle of God, and again, we are soul first. We don't have a soul. We are soul, and we embody this body as a way to on this planet in order to have in order to learn, and the path is spiritual growth. Yeah, I believe we do that separately, but we're also connected because everything is connected. If I mean, I've read quite a few books on physics, and when you break your matter down into its component parts, let's say down to the atom,
Mhm.
um, yeah, and you have your neutron and your proton, and then you have your electrons. Well, thousands of times smaller than that atom is where you get into the Planck scale. And the Planck scale right there is basically packets of energy that make up what I think is consciousness. But and so because we're made of atoms, and because we're part of this energy, and because that energy is connected to everything else in the universe, we're connected to the universe.
Yeah. So in a sense, that does make us, I love that when you said that we're not a soul, we are soul. And in many ways that seems to connect with uh, greater and greater knowledge we have of science that everything is energy. We are the universe. We are made up of particles of the universe. So
Mhm.
it connects beautifully.
Yeah, no, and I just was amazed when I compare it to what I used to read on physics, how science is catching up to Eckankar, not the other way around. It's because Eckankar has been talking about planets with the S, other worlds, dimensions, and even if you go, I mean, I didn't go over the theory of relativity, but even Einstein, proved mathematically that there was 11 dimensions in his model. So all of this has been passed on from eons, and from the spiritual world, I believe, to our world, and the goal is to raise up, the consciousness. Now, I want to mention this here now, and I know that uh, I want to bring my uncle into this. So when my uncle was alive and I was talking to him, and he'd say, well, if you want to learn about Eck, you just, there's libraries, full of libraries. But when he started Eck, there was no books. So I said, well, how did you get your lessons? And he said, telepathically. So so he was in touch, as others have been in touch throughout time, of this download information about spiritual growth. And he was able to incorporate, of course, into his daily life. And he was a healer, so it's a very special person that is able to get to that level. But when I go through his life, and you know the difficulties and the obstacles he went through, I mean, I don't think I want to go through this in order to get spiritual enlightenment. But so there's a lot for me. This is not Eck talking. This is the Eckankar. This is me talking, and seeing that there's a lot that was said in Eck that only today we are starting to understand. Did I answer your question?
Yes, beautifully. And
Mhm.
I'll throw one more at you if you don't mind, and if the group
No,
doesn't.
go ahead. I love it.
The the idea of us as being individuals who are learning. Some people do bad things. Some people seem like uh, bad people. Others are good people. We're good to the earth. We're good to
Mm.
the planet, the animals, our environment. Do those things connect? Is there a sense that that's
Yeah,
part of the lesson of Eck, that we
yeah,
gravitate towards being
yeah,
connecting with nature?
absolutely. I mean, I thought I would start this presentation by saying, in the beginning, there was memory. And over time, we lost that memory. And what was the memory? Is that we were all connected. We're all connected. Everything's connected. And you connect and they connected to the environment because they were part of the environment. So there was no illusions there. They were part of the environment and they were part of the universe. Personal, again, uh, experience, and my wife has to take credit for that. One time when we on one of our travels, we were going up Portugal. We ended up going to France and east of Bordeaux, which is the wine country and all that. We ended up at a place called Sarlat, and near that place, near Sarlat, they discovered in 1947 these caves full of paintings. And we went and visited those caves. And it was unbelievable. It wasn't just a little, line here, little line there. It was like the Sistine Chapel of their time. And those paintings go back 30,000 years. So it had been kept in this cave and sealed because just the way it happened to be the way it was discovered, there was kids playing in the woods, and then one felt, there was something that fell through, and then they went and they saw this and they reported it to their teachers. So when we were there, they were saying, the guide was saying, well, these animals here and everything represented the sacred animals that they were used to, and sustained them and all that, which was really reasonable. And so, yeah, I mean, 30,000 years ago, hunters, gatherers, they would go and, and these are the animals that they hunted, and this is why they painted them. But I later found out with another scientific article is that those animals in the caves represented celestial animals and they was tied to the stars. So they didn't have this idea that they were separated from nature. They there was so much part of it that they would paint it in these caves to show how they were connected to the stars. Now we lost that connection because we went through, I would say, a process of rationalization. If you think about the industrial age, the age of reason, with Descartes, who said, I think, therefore I am. But then you go through the process of Isaac Newton, that portrays the universe as a machine, that kind of thing. So and the separation of subject and object. So created that distance. And we don't live in the natural environment. We live in, cement and all that kind of stuff. So so it's that whole part has separated us from a natural environment. And why today we look, for me, to Eckankar to bring meaning, because there's a hole there, a spiritual hole that needs to be filled. And so this is why I think that, to your question, are we connected? Yes, we are connected. But because we went through this process and because we benefit from this process. I mean, we just look at our standard of living as, we're comfortable, everything, cars, whatever. But at the same time, it took away that link that connected us to the spiritual world. All that.
Interesting.
Hello?
Yeah,
Can you
thank you,
still hear
John.
me?
Yeah, we can. Go ahead, Greg.
Okay. I was thinking I don't want to dominate the conversation here, so others jump in, but I just thought I might ask Michelle what so where did you kind of discover Eckankar, and was it something that you that drew you to it, and that you felt that you wanted to study?
Actually, it was the first thing I came across when I decided to do the whole spiritual journey thing. Um, I was looking at this meetup site. It's called Meetup. And I was looking for spiritual groups, and I found this one that was local, like it was in Winnipeg, and that's close to where I am. And I never heard of Eckankar before that. And so I joined this group, and I was interested in it because they talked about things that I have interest in, like past lives, like dreams. And so that's how I got into it. And then it's about 3 years ago. It was like my first kind of taste of spirituality.
Neat.
That's where I met up with Michelle.
Mhm. That's
And
how
we've
we
been
met.
in touch. So, and to the point of this presentation, some of the basic, beliefs is in Eckankar is karma. Uh, we what is karma? Uh, because if we're here to learn, and and by learning we grow spiritually, we also make mistakes along the way. So karma is a principle of individual responsibility for every thought, word, and deed. It is an educational process for souls gaining experience in the lower worlds. It's part of the cause and effect, action and reaction, reaping what one sows. And there's a kind of balancing there. And for me, it's part of a invisible scale of justice that's forever in the background, and it records everything. So it is an invisible system of credits, good karma, and debits, bad karma, and it is recorded. So it's part of your record. And your record is part of your soul. And your soul, because it lives multiple lives, uses that record in order to determine what your future life is going to be. So according to Eckankar, these records are overseen by the lords of karma, and the purpose for this whole process of karma is to purify soul. So for the uninitiated, the one people not in Eckankar, at the end of each life, the lords of karma examine the karmic balance, this justice scale, in the book of life, and assign that soul to the condition it has earned for its next incarnation. This process continues countless of times. To the initiate, people like going through Eckankar, after the second initiation, the Mahanta, which we talked about, the living Ek Master, takes over the Chila's karma, the student's karma, and gives it back to work off an orderly to work off in an orderly, forward-moving manner. So the Mahanta takes on your karma and works it off through the process of moving up into the lower worlds of Ek. Also, in Eckankar, we understand and believe in past life recall. So, part of karma, past life recall, and it's a prominent feature of Eckankar. So, for us, if you have a strong love for something or strong hate for something, may mean you are drawing the past into the present, whether by agreement, non-agreement, I don't know. So the past for us is old emotions that is gathered around us, and they appear to us as family, as family members, friends, and enemies. Our past thoughts and actions even shape our physical appearance as well as our character and temperament. The cause of everything that occurs in our life is chronicled on the causal plane, which is part of that planes we talked about, states of consciousness, and we are a reflection of that journal. The causal plane is when you find the seed of all karma created in the past and learn about past lives that influence you today. So we have karma, we have recall of past lives, and we have reincarnation. Just trying to make sure I cover everything. So reincarnation is the rebirth, a process of soul entering a new body each time it enters this world. The whole journey of soul in the lower worlds via many births and deaths on the wheel of 84. This is a cycle, 12-year cycle that that we adhere to. So we reincarnate on various planes and planets until we meet the Mahanta and progress through the Ek initiations on our way to complete spiritual freedom on the soul plane. So we reincarnate on various planes and planets. This was what had been taught all along, way before Copernicus and Galileo dared to mention the thought. I don't know if you notice that it was Copernicus that said, no, it's not the sun. It's not the sun that goes around the earth, but the earth goes around the sun. And Galileo, I believe it was Galileo, he wanted to write about it. He wrote a book about this. And before he published the book, he had a little conversation with the Pope. And the Pope thought they would give him a tour of the torture chambers before he published the book, just to make sure if this was really what he wanted to do. So again, we're just learning about it while all of this information has been there through Eckankar. So for us, the second initiation in Act frees us from the need to reincarnate on the physical plane. So the idea is not to get stuck just repeatedly going back and forth, back and back, rebirth, and we want to move on. And I don't know, am I getting close to my time here? 9:50. So at 10 o'clock, I have to be, I'm joining our Sunday service. So unless, and if anybody else has any questions?
Go ahead,
I have a
Celicia.
question. Hi, John. I
Hi.
have
always associated total detachment with silence and a lack of noise or sound. And I always felt that sitting in silence was a way to finally go through the five attachments that you described.
Yeah.
After your presentation, I'm now considering maybe sound is a better way to go about detaching and hopefully ascending. And could you maybe explain why this is a better Eckankar program is a better path to finally ascend?
Well, as I think that as you make us, the sacred sound for us, right? You generate vibrations, and the chants resonate in your body. Different sound will resonate at different places, but ultimately those vibrations reach those atoms we're talking about, where light and sound is there all the time. And so sound, I think, is essential. Light and sound. And when you go back to the very beginning, the Big Bang, that's what was there. That was matter at that time, and we're part of that matter. uh, I mean, if you go back to my science and things that I've read in the past, the atoms in your body are the direct descendants of the atoms that were created at the moment of creation. Not indirect, not here, not there, direct. So, with that, you want to get back to that point. And when you get to that point, then you feel the connection with everything else. And detachment is because we're attached, is the way to liberate your soul. I agree.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man.
I have another question.
Sure.
There's this trend right now of speaking things into existence. And I think earlier you said God spoke us into existence. When people are practicing Eckankar, do they notice things changing in their life when they're employing the sounds?
Well, I find that, yeah, what happens to me is that, so before Eckankar, I was just going about things on a daily basis. I never really thought of events that took place around me. But the more, and therefore, I missed a lot of things. But the more and more I got into Eckankar, the more I realized that all other things that were happening that were helping me, and there's a communication that takes place. Uh, I'll give you an example. I was in Minneapolis at this conference. I met up, just believe me, you have to imagine there's thousands of people in this room. I'm late as usual. It's for the U chant. So I ask uh, the ushers there, they say, I says, just one guy, just point me to a vacant seat. So out of these thousands of people, she brings me right in front of the person I wanted to meet, because this was the first time I was in Minneapolis and I had no idea where anything was. And there she was. I didn't have to do anything, you know. So it was like, and then, and of course, I was in front of her. I didn't know she was behind me. We started chanting you. And as soon as she chanted you, I knew it was her. Like, oh yeah, this is it. This is happening. So things like that, and occur in your life. This type of synchronicity, and it's all tied to what I believe is the connection with that. Mm.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, John. I know you have to go. I have one sort of quick question, which is,
Sure.
you said that you do exercises twice a day. And
Yeah.
so, but you also mentioned singing you every day.
Yeah, that's what
So
I mean.
is that
Yeah,
that's part of the 2 exercises twice a
yeah,
day? And are you
yeah.
going through all the sounds that we saw in the chart, or what does that look like?
Well, well, for me, the U sound is a general sound that, everybody uses and we do all the time. But during my second initiation, I was given a special sound for myself, a mantra specific to me. And so I can use that sound as well. And and then there's, the sound, of the names of the Eckmasters, which I happen to be attached to one particular because I had a dream about that person before I even knew they were Eckmasters. But you can try it. You can go along that scale and try any of the mantras to see how you resonate and how you connect.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, man.
On behalf of everyone here, we would very much like to thank you
You're welcome.
for a wonderful presentation. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Yes,
My
thank you,
pleasure.
John. And we will be posting this recording, of course, on YouTube so that our other followers can learn more about Eckankar. And of course,
Mm.
there is lots of information online, and there's obviously lots to know. You've given us just a little taste, and I
Yeah.
really appreciate that. It's been very informative, and yeah, there's so much to learn and to grow,
Lots.
and yeah, and so we really appreciate it. So thank you,
You're
John.
welcome. You're
Mhm.
welcome.
And we're going to, so we'll love you and leave you. Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Great. So thanks for being here today, everybody. I know there's lots of places you could be, and you chose to be here. We appreciate that. I'm going to share my screen and for the Mantra of Unification that is on the Soul School Network website. And Michael, shall I say the prayer? Or would you like to say it today?
I don't mind.
Well, we'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. The mantra of unification. The souls of all are one, and I am one with them. I seek to love, not hate. I seek to serve and not exact due service. I seek to heal, not hurt. Let pain bring due reward of light and love. Let the soul control the outer form and life and all events, and bring to light the love that underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate and outer cleavages be gone. Let love prevail. Let all people love. Wiracocha.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everybody. Wishing you a splendid week. See you in 2 weeks for our open mic. And I'm sure we'll have a lively conversation. Be well.